Alright guys, CX500 Scrambler Build starts now. Electrical series for custom motorcycles. Alright, so if you guys have ever heard the term basket case, that's what this is. So this is a CX500, of course, literally coming in crates and boxes. Now I've already started collecting a bunch of bits for this thing, like the Pro Taper bars, YSS suspension, and then the rear wheel you see there, along with these forks. Along with the bits, we got stock Honda tank. It's got some dings and dents in it. We might just try to source another one. Keep it pretty similar though. But overall, this thing is going to be pretty straightforward. I'm going to make like some pannier racks for it, cool custom seat. We'll do a lot of cool little touches for it, and try to make it highly functional. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so we are starting off with an 82 model, and this is the custom version. So you know we have that kind of like teardrop tank down there, and doesn't look like the deluxe or anything like that. So we have kind of the cruiser style that everything was back in the 80s. Now this one being an 82, we have TI ignition, we have a better charging system, so already out of the gate we have a little bit better performance. And from there we can actually add a few more like electronic accessories and things like that, and we can have the ability to power them. So this one, we're not going to do a whole lot of like frame mods or anything like that to it. Should be relatively straightforward modifications. I want to try to do like crash bars and things like that, and of course a front end swap. And one thing I'm really excited about, or probably the most excited about, is building a rear wheel. So what we have here is a standard CX500 rear wheel. This is a 16, and then over here we've got a Goldwing 17. Now, this is going to give us an inch higher ground clearance. If you measure the tires, it's 2 inches difference, so split that in half, whatever. Now, the way we're going to do this is we're going to disassemble the wheel, pull these spokes out, and utilize the 17-inch rear of the Goldwing on the standard CX500 hub. And this has been done numerous times. I've never done it, but I'm going to make sure I do it right. We're going to use good hardware. We're going to make sure the wheel runs true and everything like that. And that's going to be awesome. So I'm really excited to do that, and that's going to help give us just any bit of ground clearance that we can possibly add in the rear without, you know, running the swing arm angle too far down. Now, one thing of concern there, or one major upgrade, is obviously the rear shocks. These are some YSS units. I have not tried to fit these yet, so just bear with me. But they are 14.5 inches eye to eye on the center. And these are actually kind of derived, I think, from a Yamaha XT or something like that. I think they're going to work fine, assuming they fit and the damping is correct and the spring rate is pretty decent for a scrambler. I think it should work out fine. The rest of the bike, though, oh boy. Obviously, this thing is partially disassembled, and it is a basket case. We have a lot of parts down here. The bike is essentially 100% complete. It was taken apart by the customer, by the owner of it, and nothing is like really tore up or anything like that. It's just disassembled, which is fine. You know, kind of makes my job actually partially easier. So another aspect of the bike I'm very excited about is the front end. Now I haven't seen this front end used before on a CX500, but I really wanted to try it. Same diameter fork tubes, and it should essentially be a bolt-on. Now whenever we do this permanently, I'm going to go ahead and put some progressive fork springs on it to make it a little bit heavier to hold up the weight of the CX. And I'm also going to convert it to a taper roller bearing versus the regular ball bearings in here, just as an added upgrade. One thing I do want to do to this thing is probably have these things re-chromed, re-hard chromed, because it is a lot of pitting, and that'll be down the road. But first we're going to mock it up and make sure everything fits. So we should be using the stock CX500 front wheel on here, and this bike has a dual piston front caliper, and I know this has a dual piston front caliper. I think the CX version should actually go right on this thing, which would be rad. Alright, so for a scrambler build we need the right set of handlebars. And for that, we have a set of Pro Tapers. Now these are an ATV high bend. I like them nice and wide, and those I think are going to be just absolutely perfect for this thing. We're going to see how they fit. So this is actually being built for a customer, and this particular customer has a couple buddies with some Royal Enfield Himalayans. Now, I think this is going to be the perfect challenge for me to make this thing kind of capable enough to hang with those two bikes and then be able to go on some rides together, which would be awesome. Now, if you've watched any of my other videos, you know I have a GL650 and I've been doing some adventure riding with that thing. So at this point in my life, I'm kind of geeking out over that stuff, all the ADV type riding and you know, being sustainable on the bike, and I think that's awesome. So this is like the perfect pet project for me right now. So with that being said, some of the things that beyond like the suspension and like handlebars and things like that, beyond that, I am going to fabricate probably some pannier racks and like luggage racks and stuff for this thing. And being that we're probably going to use the stock C tank, which is like, I think 3.2 gallons or something like that, I think we're going to try, or at least I'd like to try to put like an auxiliary fuel tank on this thing. And of course like removable luggage and things like that. So it's going to only end up getting a solo seat, and that's going to be another cool thing. I think I'm going to try to do some vacuum formed plastic for the base on that thing, which would be rad. And yeah, we're just going to work on kind of simplifying what needs to be simplified. We'll add capability and sustainability where possible, and this thing is going to come together really cool. And I'm excited to get on it. Okay, here's where we're at with it right now. I've taken some stuff off and I've just kind of put some stuff back on to kind of get a feel for it, because I want to get some good before and after shots and good before and after kind of like visualization of the bike. Got the tank back on here and then just kind of removed all the cables and stuff like that. Went ahead and just kind of loosely put the radiator back on, because that's just another area that we're going to have to make sure we're working around. And then as far as everything else, it was just kind of taking things off. For now, the next step is going to be rear suspension. So I want to mock up the YSS shocks first. So that'll be step one. Once we get those to fit, then I want to work on the front end. Once we have that fitting, then I want to turn my attention to the rear wheel. And from there, it's just going to start rocking and rolling. As far as the exhaust, we haven't really, me and the customer haven't gone back and forth on the exhaust too much yet, but I'm just trying to think of the most cost-effective and simplest route. And it's probably going to end up being like a 2-in-1. If he wants like a 2-in-1 system or a single pipe, then probably do a crossover under the bike and then bring something up on this side, very, very similar to like the GL650. But I can imagine maybe he wouldn't want that particular muffler. Just it's slightly on the noisy side. Like, it obviously sounds good, but I can imagine being on the trail, if it was me, I wouldn't want that muffler. So lots of other options that maybe are quieter, and even from Cone Engineering, but we'll see. And if not, we could put 2 mufflers on it, just run some straight pipes back and call it a day. But we're probably going to end up utilizing the stock headers, just because, you know, this isn't like a high dollar build or anything like that. We just want to try to get it done and make it functional. It doesn't have to be polished stainless like the CX500 build. So anyway, I am going to get back to work. Okay, so that's going to do it for this video. Episode 1, project intro of this CX500 Scrambler. Don't really have a name for it or anything like that, but this is going to be a really fun project. Really excited for it. And it's going to be nice. We're not going to go super in-depth with like the nitty-gritty like detail work. It's just going to be highly functional. We're going to make it really a really capable bike, and that's what I'm excited for. The next video you're going to see is definitely going to be rear suspension followed by front suspension. We're probably going to put that in one video and see how well that goes, and that should be awesome. That's going to give us a whole nice ride height change right off the rip, and then from there probably going to work on, you know, building that rear wheel. So if you want to see this stuff before it happens on YouTube, follow me on social media, just Brickhouse Builds across the board. Definitely, and I beg you, please subscribe if you haven't. Share the videos, you know, get the word out. Trying to do something cool here, and this is the 3rd CX500 I'm building on the channel, and among other projects. So take a cruise back through, look at some other stuff I have on here if you haven't already. And yeah, I'm gonna sign off here. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.